The Last Baroness by Silvester Lavrík. Excerpt translated by Jonathan Gresty. The Baroness stared at the crowd of people that had gathered around the motionless body lying on the ground. Gradually they turned silent, and their necks, eagerly craning upwards, slowly bent forward until their chins touched their chests. The men took off their hats and pressed them to their breasts. The women crossed themselves, one after the other. "Hemitea the witch," murmured Major Kirilenko in Russian, staring at the Baroness. He was evidently alarmed and fascinated by the passions unleashed by the arrival of the diminutive woman. "Niet," replied the young clerk, shaking her head. "She's not a witch. She is our Baroness," she added when the Commissar asked whether the people outside the window were her former serfs. Afraid she had said too much, the clerk gazed into his eyes. The emotion had drained from his face. "A landowner," she said, quickly correcting herself. "But everyone here calls her the Baroness." "Почему? Why?" "That's what they're used to." "Они боятся? Are they afraid?" he sniggered. "Не надо, no need. We are here now." "I can't explain it any better," she said, and shrugged her shoulders helplessly. But the Commissar had stopped listening. He walked on ahead and stopped when he came to the Baroness. "Wonder of wonders," said Major Kirilenko when he saw the praying crowd gathered around the motionless body on the ground. He shook his head in disbelief. "If you're not careful, you can go mad," said the Baroness softly, gazing at the scene below the windows. That's what happened to everyone who ever tried to understand the true nature of the local community. On the one hand, a pragmatic faith in progress. On the other, an unfailing devotion to everything that defies rational explanation, an unshakable conviction that the Tatra lakes are connected to the sea, the vision of the Virgin Mary on nearby Levocha Hill, the desire of Hasidic rabbis from Kharkov to Krakow to live out their lives right here because the splendor of the countryside around conferred such peace upon the soul of the deceased as if their remains were resting on the Mount of Olives in Jerusalem. "Oli parents, busybodies," the Soviet citizen murmured in French between clenched teeth, speaking so softly I found myself liking him for a moment. "Jeannot, imbécile." The Baroness said nothing in reply. She just stood there, as she told me later when we revisited those events. She gave no indication of how offended and hurt by the words of the Bolshevik occupier she was herself, and also on behalf of the confused crowd out in the square. She did not flinch. But at that moment she would have been happiest in a train carriage full of ethnic Hungarians and Germans from the Zips region, among the collaborators being expelled, among those defeated by all the regimes which had swept through their lives over the last 50 years, among her own. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. The Old Testament injunction had underpinned the decrees issued by the president of the re-established Czechoslovak Republic, Eduard Beneš. "Fine," she said, nodding her head. "But why keep invoking the gospel?"